The clerk will read the pay-go statement.
This is about Pickford, and we got the pay-go statement, and then you can... The Senator from North Dakota, Mr. Conrad, this statement of budgetary effects of pay-go legislation for H.R. 4783 is amended. Total budgetary effects of H.R. 4783 for the 5-year statutory pay-go scorecard, net increase in the deficit of $1.453 billion. Total budgetary effects of H.R. 4783 for the 10-year statutory pay-go scorecard, net decrease in the deficit of $1 million. Also submitted for the record as part of this statement is a table prepared by the Congressional Budget Office, which provides additional information on the budgetary effects of this act.
The statement having been read, the various requests with respect to this bill are agreed to.
The bill is passed.
The bill is passed.
Mr. President, I ask you to present any statements relating to this matter appear in the record at the appropriate place as if read.
Without objection.
Mr. President, I want to say that I appreciate everyone's cooperation. This has been a long, hard slog to get where we are. I appreciate Senator Kyle, Senator Menendez, and many others who have worked on this matter tirelessly for many years. So I'm grateful that it's accomplished. It's one of the really noted things that we've been able to do this Congress. It's good for all people concerned. I also want to spread across the record. Senator Conrad announced today he has a choice of, because of his tenure of service here, to take a number of different committees. He's decided to stay as chairman of the Budget Committee. So when I talked to him this morning, I said, I'm elated. He is really a wizard with numbers. He was, as a young man, academically extremely talented. And as a person who is experienced here in the Senate, no one knows numbers better than he does. And we're very fortunate as a country that Kent Conrad is going to remain as chairman of the Budget Committee. Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent that the majority leader be authorized to sign any duly enrolled bills or joint resolutions for the remainder of today.
Without objection.
I ask consent that the Baucus Amendment number 4713 be modified with the changes at the desk, and that the November 18th order be modified to make it in order to consider the Baucus Amendment to suspend with respect to Baucus Amendment number 4713 is modified.
Without objection.
I ask the Chair now to lay before the Senate the House message to accompany H.R. 5566.
The Chair lays before the Senate the following message.
Resolved that the House agreed to the amendment of the Senate to the bill H.R. 5566, entitled an act to amend Title 18 United States Code to prohibit interstate commerce in animal crush videos and for other purposes, with the House amendment to Senate amendment.
Mr. President, I ask consent that the Senate concur in the House amendment. The motion reconsider be laid on the table, and any statements relating to this matter appear at the appropriate place in the record as if read.
Without objection.
I ask consent now that the Chair lay before the Senate a House message with respect to S3689.
The Chair lays before the Senate the following statement.
Resolved that the bill from the Senate, S3689, entitled an act to clarify, improve, and correct the laws relating to copyrights, do pass with amendments.
I move to concur in the House amendments. Further ask the motion be agreed to. The motion reconsider be laid on the table. There be no intervening action or debate. And any statements relating to this matter appear at the appropriate place in the record as if read.
Without objection.
Mr. President, I ask that we now proceed to calendar number 650, S3650.
The clerk will report.
Calendar number 650, S3650, a bill to amend Chapter 21 of Title 5 United States Code, and so forth.
I ask consent.
Is there objection to proceeding?
Okay.
Without objection.
Thanks, Mr. President. I ask consent that the Wyden Amendment, which is at the desk, be considered, agreed to. The bill as amended be read a third time and pass. The motion to reconsider be laid on the table. There be no intervening action or debate. Any statements relating to this measure be placed in the record as if read.
Without objection.
I ask consent the Judicial Committee be discharged from further consideration of H.R. 6198.
Without objection. The clerk will report.
H.R. 6198, an act to amend Title 11 of the United States Code to make technical corrections and for related purposes.
Is there objection to proceeding? Without objection, the committee is discharged.
Ask unanimous consent that the Hatch Amendment, which is if it has to be agreed to, the bill is amended, be read a third time passed. Motion to reconsider be laid on the table.
Without objection.
I ask, Mr. President, also permission that any statements relating to this matter be placed in the record as if read.
Without objection.
I now ask that we proceed to H. Conres 327.
Clerk will report.
H. Conres 327, concurrent resolution recognizing and supporting the efforts of the USA Bid Committee to bring the 2022 FIFA World Cup competition to the United States.
Is there objection to proceeding to that item? Without objection, Majority Leader may proceed.
As consent, the concurrent resolution be agreed to, the preamble be agreed to, the motion to reconsider be laid on the table. There be no intervening action or debate, and any statements relating to this matter appear in the record at the appropriate place.
Without objection.
I ask consent that we now discharge the Judiciary Committee from further consideration of SRES 611, and we proceed to its consideration now.
Clerk will report.
Senate Resolution 611, congratulating the Cumberland Valley Athletic Club, and so forth.
Is there objection to proceeding to this item? Without objection, the Majority Leader may proceed.
I further ask that we agree to the resolution. The preamble be agreed to. The motion to reconsider be laid on the table. There be no intervening action or debate, and any statements relating to this matter appear at the appropriate place in the record as if read.
Without objection.
I now ask that we proceed to discharging the Judiciary Committee from further consideration of SRES 631 and consider that here in the Senate now.
The clerk will report.
Senate Resolution 631, designating the week beginning on November 8, 2010 as National School Psychology Week.
Is there objection to proceeding to this item? Without objection, the Majority Leader may proceed.
I ask consent that the resolution be agreed to, the preamble be agreed to, the motion be considered be laid on the table. There be no intervening action or debate, and any statements relating to this matter appear at the record in the appropriate place.
Without objection.
I ask consent the Senate proceed to SRES 689.
The clerk will report.
Senate Resolution 689, recognizing National American Indian and Alaska Native Heritage Month, and so forth.
Is there objection to proceeding to this item? Without objection, the Majority Leader may proceed.
I ask consent the resolution be agreed to, preamble be agreed to, the motion to reconsider be laid on the table. There be no intervening action or debate. Any statements relating to this matter appear in the record at the appropriate place.
Without objection.
Mr. President, I ask consent that when the Senate completes its business today, it adjourn under the provisions of H. Conres 332 until 2 p.m. on Monday, November 29th. Following the prayer and the pledge, journal proceedings be approved to date. The journal proceedings did that last night. Got two adjourned 2 times. Didn't matter. We say it twice. What difference does it make? The morning hour be deemed expired. The time for the 2 leaders be reserved for the use later in the day. The Senate proceed to the period of morning business until 4 p.m. Senators permitted to speak for up to 10 minutes each during that time. Following morning business, Senate will resume consideration of the FDA Food Safety Modernization Act as provided under the previous order.
Without objection.
The next vote will occur at 6:30 p.m. on Monday, November 29th. Under the agreement we reached last night, at 6:30 p.m., the Senate will vote on the motion to invoke cloture on the substitute amendment. Senators should expect additional votes on the 4 motions to suspend the rules on the passage of the bill to occur Monday night. Therefore, Senators should expect up to 6 roll call votes Monday evening. Mr. President, if there's nothing further to come before the Senate, I, first of all, appreciate your courtesy in waiting here this afternoon until we got this most important piece of legislation completed. I appreciate your patience, as usual. I ask that now we adjourn under the previous order.
Under the previous order and pursuant to the provisions of H. Conres 332, the Senate stands adjourned until 2 p.m. on Monday, November 29, 2010.
That wraps up another Senate session. Earlier this week, lawmakers approved Jacob Lew to head up the Office of Management and Budget. They also passed a bill providing temporary payments to doctors who treat Medicare patients. Back after the Thanksgiving break, Majority Leader Reid hopes to work on a food safety bill, and we may also see debate on an amendment offered by Republican Senator Coburn banning earmarks.